Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back because he had more great news. Peter Hawley is President CEO of Fabled Silver Gold, trades of the venture on the stock symbol FCO. For those who are new to the story, I'm going to give you a good overview. The company controls 100% of the Santa Maria gold and silver property in Mexico, and it's a fantastic property. It's got a high-grade underground mine with a rich mining history, a silver equivalent 43101 right now of 3.2 million ounces indicated, 1.1 million inferred, but that's growing because the company is in the middle of a big drilling program right now. They're currently conducting the first drill program to support that 43101, 8,000 meters. Great results have come in. We're going to talk about that. The area, mining friendly, has produced over 250 million ounces of silver right in the neighborhood, multiple major operators, and significant infrastructure. So suffice to say, that's why Peter came out of retirement for the Santa Maria. Peter, welcome back.
Yeah, good seeing you, George. And very, very exciting time for ourselves right now. And, maybe markets got beat up a little bit, but the silver focus is on. I mean, people are honing in on silver assets.
Yeah, and look, companies aren't made in a day, and resources aren't made in a day. But you guys are doing, you're building, and you've done it before. You guys are building a great story here. So typically, when a company reports drill results and all that, they're very, very detailed, and a lot of people don't understand them. But
yep.
Let's talk big picture first. We'll talk big picture about what the drill results meant. But first, for new people and even for existing investors, it's always good to hear the big picture in Santa Maria, why it's such a great property.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great question, George. High level view is the Parral area. We're located in Chihuahua, about 40 kilometers, 35, 40 kilometers just south of the city of Parral. Now, the Parral area proper to date has actually produced over 800 million ounces. And basically, George, in two camps, if you want to call it. One, the city of Parral, and that's about 250 million ounces, and hence why the city was formed. They're mining that. And then on the other side, slightly to the west of Parral, you have the huge trend of about 45 kilometers long. And on this, you have Grupo Mexico's Santa Barbara division. And they have produced to date approximately 600 million ounces, over half. Yeah, I know. And they're still producing about 800 or 80 million ounces, or 8 million ounces, a year per annum. And they've been going, it's been over 700 years. And we're the next door neighbor on strike of this mineralized trend. So that's the big picture. I mean, you want to find another mine, well, you just have to go, close to or in the shadows of another mine.
Yep, and you've done it before, and this one here, you reported 232 grams ton of silver over 2.2 meters, 162 grams over 0.55 meters, so on and so forth. Let's talk about this drilling before the specific results. What's the overall determination that came out of this? Because I have a quote here that says the structure remains very comfortable and intersected exactly where predicted. That's always a good sign. Yeah. Which bodes well for the expansion of Santa Maria and increase in the present 43101 resource on the property, with only 5 drill holes drilled to date. I mean, that's a great statement. So what did this drilling tell you about Santa Maria?
Well, we'll just back up a little bit before we got involved. So before we got involved, the previous owners had drilled a total of about 9,600 meters in total on the property over a period of 4 years. And out of that 9,600 meters of drilling, they put out a resource estimate of approximately 4.4 million ounces of silver at 335 grams per ton. So that was our base to build on. So when we took it on, that's what we got. And that was over a strike length of about 600 meters down to a vertical depth of approximately minus 125 meters, George. So the question is, does it stop at 125 meters? or does it go down to 1,000 meters? Who knows? 600 meters long, does it go longer than 600 meters? And then we did IP on it, and then it came up with first priority, another 11 anomalies on the property that never seen before. And then we recognized these north-south structures, and then we recognized displacement, and we started drilling. So now we're going to drill, or we are drilling 8,000 meters, and it'll probably take us 5 months. I expect to be finished in May if we don't continue onwards. And we're basically going to drill in 5 months what the previous companies did in over 4 years. And not only on the first fence of holes, and the previous drilling, it was not to drill a fence of holes or to understand what's in the ground, you definitely need 2 points. You always need 2 points to be able to join A to A and B to B. Ideally, you would like to have 3 points. It just makes it a little safer. So for the first time ever, we started drilling drill stations to the east of the resource, and 3 holes from 1 drill station. And not only did we encounter huge widths of constant silver mineralization, and I think at one point in time, I was saying to you, George, it was the equivalent of looking up a building in the street that's 100 stories high, and that's type of intercepts that we were getting width-wise. But the thing was that we drilled down to 350 meters vertically, the deepest hole ever drilled on the property. And lo and behold, exactly where it was planned, we hit the Santa Maria structure. I call it structure. Previous people call them veins. So very predictable. So then we stepped out and we went to 100 or 125 meters to the east, further outside the resources again. And now we're drilling the third fence. And so the holes that we just put out were the first 2 holes of that fence. The first hole, SM20-04, that was drilled at -60 degrees, and SS20-05 was drilled at -75 degrees. And what is really interesting, and I've been saying it from day one, and lo and behold, here it happens, is that did we intercept the Santa Maria vein and structure? Yes, we did.
So that's big.
That is big, but as I was saying about these north-south structures intersecting east-west structures, it slightly displaced it, but this is the first time that we've encountered the predicted north-south structures. And the grades you quoted earlier, such as 232 grams per ton silver equivalent over 2.2 meters or whatever, that's a north-south structure that we're going through. So these north-south structures, which have never had an ounce added onto them in their lives, that go from the south end of the property kilometers to the north end of the property, and there's multi of them, are pregnant with silver.
I'm assuming that takes the view of Santa Maria into a completely different direction.
Yeah, because this was theorized, but originally you were talking about one plumbing system going east-west called the Santa Maria vein structure system. Now you've hit multi other plumbing systems going north-south. Hey, I mean, you got a very fertile piece of ground for adding ounces of silver. So we're very excited. And as we march, the next set of holes, George, our next fence, I should say, is about 225 meters to the east again. And that is right in the heart of this north-south structure, which can be seen on IP. It's shown on magnetics. It's black and white. And the next time we'll talk, we'll have a big map of that so people can look at it.
For people at home who can't contextualize it, and given your history and the success you've had, how exciting is that? And your quote here says, "We now have 2 mineralized plumbing systems starting to intersect, which bodes well for the future drilling." I mean, how important or how big is that even to you on a scale of 1 to 10? How excited How exciting is this development for you?
Well, what it tells you, there's a bunch of ways of looking at it, but what it tells me, what's interesting, is in the bigger picture is you started off with one plumbing system going east-west, looking for mineralization related to that. That is, you're hitting it where it's predicted. It's very predictable. It's a very big structure. You're next to mining camp of Grupo Mexico, IMSA, that's produced over 800 million ounces. Everything's looking good. All of a sudden, you hit these north-south trending structures, which I quoted a long time ago as coming off of this big regional graben to the northwest. You're hitting those, and you're not just getting another plumbing system. These are different generations. We deal with silver gold going east-west. These have silver gold, but also a copper, lead, zinc component. It's a second pulse. So this is a second injection of mineralization. That's pretty big in my eyes, George. I think, it's two for one, right?
Well, if you say it, yeah, because that's why we've got you on here to give us that concept.
Yeah. No, it is.
So what becomes the focus? The east-west, the north-south? The good news is you've got so much now, so much, as you said, it's pregnant with silver. How do you approach it methodically? And I know you do know how to do it, but what becomes a priority? How do you approach this methodically?
Well, if you can imagine this, the east-west Santa Maria vein, which we're targeting, right, which was always the target, and then after the Santa Maria vein and the blue sky exploration was going to be testing out the IP anomalies to the northwest and everything else. Now, the running east-west, so for us to get the best indication of what the true width of this, we want to drill them and hit them at right angles, right? You want to hit them 90 degrees right on. And so when you come through that, you're going to find out kind of what is the true thickness of this. Whereas when you hit something on an oblique angle, say 10 degrees, 20 degrees, or whatever, you stay in it forever and you make it look a lot bigger than it is, right? Well, we drill from north in a southern direction to hit the Santa Maria vein structure going east-west, okay? These north structures, south structures, are going the same way we are. So the chances of us hitting them all the time are virtually impossible because we're almost oblique to them. We're almost parallel to them, unless you end up winding up in a hole just collaring in one. So the ideal thing, George, and what we'll be doing after this big fence or the next fence, so we have one more hole to talk about on this fence, 4, 5, 6, hole number 6. Hope to have those assays, say, the end of next week or so. The next fence, 8, 9, 10, that is 220 meters to the thing. Right now, as of last night, working with the guys in Mexico and everything else, we're going to turn, after we drill the next fence, we're going to turn the drill 90 degrees, contrary to, and almost drill the same direction you would drill the Santa Maria vein, like the way the Santa Maria vein goes east-west. We're going to drill it, and we're going to go across all these structures in one big shot at a very deep depth. That we'll see.
But you're excited? Is it, if we could, to kind of capture your sentiment on what you're seeing right now, is Santa Maria living up to all the reasons that brought you out of retirement for it?
Oh, and more. And we haven't even got to the best part yet, because you've heard me yakking about the anomalies to the north, these first priority IP anomalies. Those are, we'll see what those mean. But I mean, if this big north-south structure, which ironically displaces that big IP anomaly to the northwest, you can actually see it being displaced. So we know it's mineralized, and it displaces other thing that looks like a Santa Maria to the north of us, except many times more powerful as far as its signature. I mean, if you start following these lines, and there's juice going through all of them. I mean, later on when we do a resource calculation, yeah, you're not going to have 3 or 4 million ounces anymore. You're going to have a huge different number. So yes, very happy with what we've seen, George.
This 8,000 meter program is gonna end up in May. It will probably end in May, right?
Yeah.
Ballpark.
Yeah.
At that point, do you guys already have an idea of what you're gonna do next? Given your expectations, like what do you, if it lives up to expectations of, you know, the next 6,000 meters, you're done in May, what's next after that?
Yeah, where we're at, and I've said this from the beginning plan was that out of the 8,000 meters, 4,000 meters was going to be expanding the Santa Maria resource, of which
Course.
we've been doing. And the additional 4,000 meters would be donated to doing blue sky drilling, stuff that's never been done before, never seen, whatever. So the start of the blue sky drilling is turning the drill 90 degrees and drilling the complete wrong way that everybody else would never try to drill, and drill a north-south structure. And you know what the funny thing is, George, and I don't understand why no one's ever looked at this. If you look at the regional trend of mineralization in the Santa Barbara unit of IMSAS and also in Parral camp, you want to know what the main mineralizing trend is? North-south.
Why do you think no one's figured that out before?
I
No
think
one thought that way.
I think what they think is we're too far down, away from the main wrenching unit. But you've heard me talk about earlier that we, to the north of us, we just have this great big regional graben coming through it, the San Rafael Rift. And that's what's causing the north-south veins. And I don't think people realize that actually that rift was as active as far as down as we are.
If you're correct in your theory,
There's going to be a lot of people re-looking at the ground now and paying attention to north-south. And you know, and it's really funny because you think about
you start staking further and further and further
you know,
north.
it's really funny because everyone, when you think about it, you're looking for an east-west structure, so you're going to go north-south, right? To look at it, to cut it at whether it's drilling, or if you're doing your geophysics, you want to do your geophysics at right angles to what you're looking for to get the best representation of what it is, right? So all of a sudden, if you run your lines north-south and you're doing your geophysics north-south and everything else, you're doing that parallel to the body that you're looking for. So you very rarely will you get sometimes a response. We did it in 3D, so it worked for us. But all the other people that did it in 2D, and I'm sorry, you have to go back now and redo all your geophysics in a whole different direction and have a re-look at this. So yeah,
You've done a lot of people a favor. You might be doing a lot of people a favor.
it'll be interesting, George. It'll be really interesting.
Let's talk a little bit broader market. Price of silver. You know, a lot of people have theories on where silver could go, silver short squeeze and all that. I haven't actually looked today, so I don't know what the price is, but you know, we're in the mid to upper 20s. Where do you need silver to be for Santa Maria to be economical, assuming you get the resource up to the size you want it? But that's the good news, right? You don't need 25, 30, $35 silver.
No. It's always a function. You know, mining is always a function of grade, and people say grade is king, and you've heard this before. And the reason why they say grade is king is for two reasons. One is that when you extract a ton of rock from underground or whatever methods, it's a fixed cost. So if it's a ton of nothing or a ton loaded with silver, you know what? It costs you X number of dollars, right? So the more you can put in it, the more you get out. That's one reason for grade is king. But the other most important thing is grade is king because metal prices get really low, you're going to survive. So when you're balancing this thing out, what you want to do is have two or three, and most mines do, have two or three mining scenarios where, you know what, metal prices are really high here. We're going to really leave our really good stuff here, and we're going to take this stuff that's economic under these prices right now.
Right.
And then, you know, so it's a blending like this. So the 2018 PEA, preliminary economic assessment done by Tetra Tech for the vendors of the property, gold and minerals. They used 1250 silver and 1250 gold. Right now, silver is what's $26 and change, I
It's
guess.
double the
Yeah, or whatever.
silver's
Yeah.
double that, and obviously gold is 50.
So anyways, they did a preliminary economic assessment on it based on toll milling at Parral and the results they got and the grade and everything else. And you know what, George? It came out at 192% IRR at 1250 silver.
So your big smile says it all, and your grades are great, right? I mean, the grades so far.
No, it's how do you want to carve it up, and that's just, it all comes down to economics at the end. When you take your pencil and you put it out and say, how big do you want to make this thing, and how many tons a day, and and then you just start putting various parameters to it.
Do you think you guys would be the guy, because they're going to be new people watching, so it's important to have some of these, even though we've talked about this before. Will you guys be mining Santa Maria one day, or you plan to get it up to?
Oh, don't do this to me! Don't do this to me, George! Don't do this to me!
Or sell it off to somebody when all the numbers are exactly as you want them to be.
I don't know. It'll be another year or two of drilling. So ask me that question after that point in time. But
hold on. But that's a good thing to know right there, Peter, that within, okay, you said a year or two. So let's take 18 months.
Yep.
So basically we're saying by the end of 2022, you're going to have a really good handle on Santa Maria, and then you're going to have options. Do we sell? Do we put it in production ourselves?
Yeah. And we've been very fortunate. I mean, some people, our price our share price performed extremely well. It's very liquid, trades like crazy daily. And during the kind of spike in the silver enthusiasm and everything else, we were very fortunate that our stock went to, I think it was almost seven times what the initial financing was done at in December, multiples thereof. And as a result, it created early exercise of warrants into our kitty. So presently, we have over $5.5 million.
How far does that take you, Peter, in terms of if you think, I know you don't know exactly what you're going to need next 18 months, but if things go as kind of planned as you expect, how far is that $5 million take?
Well, right now, without even blinking, as long as I have the board permission and everything else, without even blinking, I could turn around and drill another 8,000 meters back to back on this without stopping, without even having to finance or do anything. So we're in great shape, and I could probably do another 8,000 after that if I wanted to too. So yeah,
it's going to take you a long way. And I'm presuming the better the kind of results that you're putting out, now you've got, as you've said, now you've got 2 mineralized plumbing systems starting to intersect. There'll be even more money available to the company if it needs it at the end of the day, because you carry a lot of weight and you're obviously bringing in some great results.
Yeah, and it's like I said to you, and you've known me for a long time, George, is that I have no intentions of wasting shareholders' money or their time or my time or anything else. You can't make a mine out of something that it is not. So go in and hit it hard and try to put a stake through its heart and kill it as fast as possible and get on with life. And I know a lot of people like to milk it and dry it out and everything else. No, that's not.
Oh yeah. Way. Tell a tale. Yeah. Sometimes you hear these things you say, and it's going to take us 10 years to figure it out. Who's got 10 years?
I know. Yeah, we're getting shorter. We're getting shorter on that, George.
And I think this is probably this is probably a good time for people at home to understand that you came out of retirement for Santa Maria. Give everyone again, a 90-second overview of the kind of success you've had. You didn't have to come out of retirement, but you're such a, you're such a rock hound at the end of the day that you had to come out for this.
Yeah, I'd rather call myself a nut, but anyways. No, I'm an engineer and I'm a geologist. I lived in Val d'Or, Quebec for about 25 years. And then started out of that 25 years, I guess it was late 80s or so, I started visiting Mexico. In Val-d'Or, I originally started working for Placer Dome at the Sigma Mines, went on to work for Ore Resources with the Luby discovery, et cetera. Started down to Mexico. I guess my claim to fame is I formed a company called Scorpio Mining in Mexico. I was the founder. There was me and another guy, put in my own money and broke all the ground and everything else. All of a sudden in 2000, that was 2010, 2008, we had our mine mill inauguration on the Nuestra Senora project in Costa Sinaloa. And that was a pure discovery. Actually 5 discoveries, to tell you the truth. One went into production. It was always built to piggyback on each other. We got bought out by, today is called America's Gold and Silver. Darren Basudis, the head of that. I remained on the board until 2 years ago. And then after that, I created Scorpio Gold, and we became a heap leach open pit operator in Nevada, and went into production in 1.5 years on that one. And then also during that point in time, I was co-founder of a company called Naya Gold in Val-d'Or, Quebec, which was a lot of the old mines with Ore Resources that I worked in. And then Cisco was across the road, and they realized you could big open pits, And this basically looked like we had the same geology. And we outlined through a feasibility study 2 million ounces open pit. And then we were bought out by Cisco, our old man. And
I mean, that track record that's why there's so much attention on Fabled. I mean, that people would be ecstatic if they had 1/4 of your success in their career, let alone what you've done. And so this confirms, with all that in mind, and I know I kind of asked before, but I want to ask it again. With all that in mind, Santa Maria was worth you coming out of retirement to go after it. Correct. So far.
Oh, no, absolutely. And the thing is, and you just heard me say it earlier, I'm going to have this answer very shortly. And I bet you I'll have this answer before the end of May. I'm just what I'll, there'll be some arm waving, but I can tell you what your expectation should be for the size of this thing.
Man,
And
that's exciting. That's going to be exciting for a lot of people.
May's not very far away, George. So in 5 months, if you can get an answer to the type of deposit you got or the size in 5 months, I'd say it's pretty good.
But that almost sounds too good to be true for the industry, right? 5 months.
Well, no. This is structure unstructure. It's purely looking at it in that context. There's there's some great projects ongoing right now, and actually one of our neighbors, I'll give them a plug, Go Gold in Parral. They have the Parral reprocessing the silver tailings. But anyways, they've been having great success down in Mexico, and kind of similar to what we're doing. These big, some case you get low grade widths, big widths, and then you have high grade structures within them. The problem is depending upon where you are, they can get complicated. And now you see them, now you don't. And so when I say we predict the structure is going to be here, we drill down, boom, there it is. That's unusual. But I think
when you said that in the quote, I actually got it bold and underlined in front of my notes here. Exactly where predicted. You don't hear that very often.
Oh. No, actually,
not this early, anyways.
Yeah, well, I will admit, George, I screwed up, and here's how I screwed up. On hole number 3, the deepest hole ever drilled in the property, right? It was proposed to hit the Santa Maria structure at minus 350 meters vertically, and I screwed up because we hit it at minus 349.5 meters.
Get out of here.
That's true.
Well, now you're showing off. Now you're showing off. But man, that's scary though. All kidding aside, that's scary to be that, to predict just exactly where predicted within half a meter. That's unbelievable.
Well, people heard me say, and I think one of the conversations before that release came out, that I was going to hit this structure at minus 350 meters. I had called that way ahead of time, right? And boom, there it is.
That's great news for all of us when a CEO like you has that great of a handle on a property like this. Peter, I know we've had fun, during this interview. It's nice it's easy to have fun, but at the same time, incredibly reassuring, gives shareholders and everyone, all new people, a great deal of confidence. So look, congratulations on this next milestone. And we're March 11th. So we're gonna you got whole 6 coming back in a couple of weeks, correct?
Yeah, I may have those results middle to latter part of next week, George. So I'll get those out as soon as they come in.
And then you'll be back.
And I'll be back, as Arnie would say.
I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Thanks for joining us, Peter. Great stuff. Always pleasure. It's so great speaking to you because you just have so much calm confidence. It just comes through, right? It isn't a case of George, we're popping holes everywhere. We think we're chasing something. So it's amazing, right? And it's great.
Okay.
It's always great to have you on.
Thank you very much, George. Appreciate it.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast to Peter Hawley, President CEO of Fabled Silver Gold, trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol FCO, and for our friends in Europe under 7NQ. For those of you new to the story, you got to do your due diligence. Get to Agoracom, get to the Fabled Silver Gold Hub, take a look at the profile page, and we've got it all laid out for you there, especially in layman's terms, right? That's what our job is. Layman's terms, have the story laid out there so you can really get an understanding. But then link over to the company site. It's on Agoracom, where you can see it right over Peter's head right now. There's a URL. Get over there and do more due diligence, because when someone like Peter and his success, multiple success over decades, comes back out and is this excited about Santa Maria, you got to follow and don't say we didn't tell you so. Have a great day. See you next time.